On the morning of July 7th, 2015, police in Binh Phuoc Province, Vietnam, received a horrifying report of a massacre that had taken place in a wealthy family's home. At approximately 6:45 a.m. that same day, Mrs. Don Thi Cam Loan, born 1975, a housekeeper for Mr. Le Van Mai's family, 48 years old, residing in Minh Hung Commune, arrived at the house as usual to begin her work. Upon arrival, Mrs. Loan noticed that the back gate of the villa was locked, while the front door was only slightly ajar, highly unusual. Stepping inside, she was horrified to discover 5 bodies scattered throughout the house, including Mr. Mai and his wife, their son, daughter, and granddaughter. Immediately after receiving the report, Binh Phuoc Provincial Police quickly cordoned off the crime scene and launched an investigation. The incident occurred at a luxurious villa located along National Highway 13 in Chon Than District, Binh Phuoc Province. The villa's grounds covered nearly 10,800 square feet and served as both the residence of Mr. Mai's family and the headquarters of Quoc An Wood Processing Company, which he owned. Notably, the crime scene was only about 330 feet from the police station, making the incident even more shocking and causing nationwide outrage. When police arrived at the scene, in addition to the 5 bodies discovered inside the villa, they found the body of a 14-year-old boy lying in the yard near the main gate. All victims were found tied up with multiple fatal wounds to their necks, indicating signs of a brutal and premeditated murder. The victims of the massacre included Mr. Le Van Mai, born 1967, the homeowner and owner of Quoc An Wood Company; Mrs. Nguyen Le An Nga, born 1972, Mr. Mai's wife; Le Thi An Lin, born 1993, their eldest daughter; Le Quoc An, born 2000, their youngest son; Du Thi Tu Nu, born 1997, Mrs. Nga's niece; Du Min Vi, born 2001, Nu's younger brother and also Mrs. Nga's nephew. The siblings Nu and Vi had been living with Mr. Mai's family for a long time. Their mother, Mrs. Nga's younger sister, was divorced and frequently worked away from home, so she had left her 2 children with her sister for care. At the blood-soaked crime scene, amid the suffocating tension, a miracle occurred. Mr. Mai's youngest daughter, commonly called Na, who was only 18 months old at the time, had survived. The little girl was found sleeping soundly in her bed. The area around the crime scene quickly descended into chaos. While police maintained strict control over the villa, hundreds of curious onlookers crowded the area, lining National Highway 13 to follow the developments. Specialized units from the Ministry of Public Security coordinated with Binh Phuoc Provincial Police to immediately begin work. They collected all fingerprints, blood traces, and shoe prints left in the villa for testing and analysis. Every small detail was carefully documented in an effort to find clues about who had murdered the entire family. On the afternoon of July 7th, 2015, Binh Phuoc Provincial Police held an emergency press conference to provide preliminary information about the shocking massacre that killed 6 people from the same family. The news spread rapidly, shocking the entire nation. Police began summoning and taking statements from people who were related to or had contact with the victim's family. Hundreds of workers at the wood factory were also questioned that same day. During the investigation, Mr. Mai's younger brother and the company's delivery driver provided particularly important information. Both had received strange calls early in the morning when the murders occurred, a time believed to coincide with when the victims were killed. At approximately 3:18 a.m. on July 7th, Mr. Nguyen Le Hung, 33 years old, Mrs. Nguyen Le An Nga's younger brother, suddenly discovered 2 missed calls from his 2 nieces, Lin and Nu. Sensing something was wrong, he immediately called back, but neither answered. After calling several more times, Mr. Hung finally heard the familiar voices of his nieces on the other end. "Uncle Hung," sounding very normal, then the phone immediately went dead. Feeling uneasy, Mr. Hung continued calling his sister, Mrs. Nga. At 3:25 a.m., she answered and said briefly, "It's nothing, go back to sleep." Hearing this, Mr. Hung was somewhat reassured and went back to sleep, not realizing that would be their last conversation. According to daily routine, around 4 a.m., a company driver would come to the villa to pick up wood for delivery. However, at 3 a.m., the driver unexpectedly received a call from Mrs. Nga's number saying, "You don't need to come pick up wood today." He was surprised but followed the instructions. As the investigation expanded, police found the crime scene extremely complex. The entire grounds of Mr. Mai's house connected with the wood factory, where over 100 workers were employed. The villa's security system had multiple surveillance cameras installed, but all stopped working on the very night of the murders. According to relatives of the victims, Mr. Mai's family was renovating the back house, so they had temporarily cut off power in that area, resulting in the loss of all data from the security cameras. This made tracking down clues and catching the perpetrator extremely difficult, forcing investigators to rely entirely on physical evidence and witness testimony to find the culprit. At the crime scene, everything indicated a fierce struggle had taken place. From the living room to the hallway and out to the yard, police discovered numerous signs of resistance from the victims: furniture knocked over, blood spattered everywhere. During the crime scene examination, forensic science officers discovered 5 suspicious fingerprints on the door. Initially, investigators assessed this could be a robbery murder, as many items in the house, such as cabinets, handbags, and wallets, showed signs of being ransacked. However, what puzzled the investigators was that some high-value assets remained intact. In the garage, there was still an Audi car worth over $210,000, another car worth over $42,000, along with many trucks for transporting goods still parked neatly. There were no signs of theft, no evidence taken away. Everything seemed to contradict the initial robbery-murder hypothesis. Given this situation, Binh Phuoc Provincial Police expanded the scope of the investigation. Starting July 10, 2015, police deployed to seal off, examine, and sweep the entire area within a radius of several hundred yards around the villa. Hundreds of officers and soldiers were mobilized, working day and night. Every trash can, bush, wall, and neighboring house compound was thoroughly searched for any trace of the perpetrator. During the crime scene examination, authorities discovered and collected a total of 156 pieces of various evidence. After thorough screening, investigators sent some important traces for examination, including many suspicious fingerprints found on doors and household items. Thanks to modern analytical equipment and advanced data comparison software, the police records department quickly identified the first clues. The preliminary results helped investigators narrow down the group of suspects and gain clearer direction on the motive. One of the most important assessments made at that time was this was not the act of a single person. The evidence showed the massacre involved at least 2 perpetrators with close coordination and division of labor, signs of a meticulously prepared criminal plan. To ensure proper autopsy and forensic examination, at 4:30 p.m. that same day, July 7th, the bodies of the 6 victims were transferred to Chonthon District General Hospital. There, forensic doctors collected fingerprint samples, footprints, blood samples, and tissue cells for DNA testing and comparison with evidence collected at the scene. On the bodies and neck areas of the victims were signs of being tied, along with multiple fatal stab wounds. The particularly notable point showing the brutality of the perpetrator was that all victims had been stabbed through the heart. This helped the investigation team assess that the perpetrator was not simply a robbery murderer, but must have been acquainted with and had deep conflicts with the victim's family. On the afternoon of July 8, 2015, just one day after the case was discovered, the Criminal Investigation Police Agency of Binh Phuoc Provincial Police officially initiated criminal proceedings and established a special investigation team to hunt down the perpetrator responsible for the massacre of 6 people in the same family. The very next day, July 9th, police issued widespread notices calling on citizens to report crimes and provide relevant information to support the investigation. Police spread out everywhere, from major roads, markets, to industrial zones around Minh Hung Commune, distributing leaflets and approaching each resident and worker, hoping to gather any small clue. In parallel, investigation teams were continuously deployed. Police summoned and took statements from dozens of witnesses and related persons, from the housekeeper for Mr. Levan Mai's family, workers at Kwakon Wood Company, to people Mr. Mai had recently laid off. All business, social, and personal relationships of the victims were narrowed down and carefully screened to track down suspects. According to information gathered, Mr. and Mrs. Mai were very benevolent, employing many poor laborers, mostly from Western provinces. Besides running their business, the couple also cared about workers' lives. During year-end celebrations, in addition to hosting banquets, Mrs. Na would buy motorcycles, TVS, and refrigerators for workers to win through lucky draws. Mr. Mai's family not only employed many poor workers, but was also a philanthropist in the locality. Overall, the couple lived harmoniously with neighbors and had never violated the law. Recently, Mr. Mai had invested in a plot of land in Han Quan District, Bin Phuoc, planning to gradually relocate the factory away from residential areas. Mr. Mai had moved much machinery and equipment there. However, this was also a time when the couple's business encountered obstacles. On one occasion, Mr. Mai told a younger relative that he owed suppliers about $210,000 to $420,000. The previous Friday, Mr. Mai had scheduled to meet a creditor to repay money, but he had gone to Ho Chi Minh City, so the matter didn't proceed as planned. In addition, all psychological developments of relatives and funeral attendees were observed by investigators and placed within the scope of suspects. During the investigation, when looking into who among the relationships of each victim was currently in conflict, the lead that police particularly focused on was the relationship of Le Tian Lin, Mr. Mai's daughter. Lin had been in love with a young man for several years before. With the evidence initially collected, it could be determined that Lin's romantic relationship had grounds to lead to resentment. Moreover, an initial suspect, Lin's current boyfriend, also stated that recently Lin had been worried because her ex-boyfriend had called to threaten her. From the initial information gathered, investigators narrowed down to one suspicious person. Although this person had a complete alibi, investigators still decided to place him under special surveillance. That was Nguyen Hai Duong, born February 1st, 1991, from Kienan Commune, Cho Moi District, Anjiang Province. Occupation, worker, no criminal record. With a gentle appearance and quiet demeanor, Duong could hardly make anyone think he was involved in such a horrific massacre. But what caught police attention was Duong's past relationship with Le Tian Lin, the eldest daughter of the victim's family. The two had dated for a time, and Duong had even lived with Mr. Mai's family for a period. However, this relationship faced fierce opposition from Lin's family. Ultimately, Lin was the one who initiated the breakup, while Duong could not accept it. What particularly caught detectives' attention was Duong's attitude during the funeral days. On July 8th, when the bodies of the 6 victims were released for burial, Duong showed no fear or avoidance of people's gazes. But it was this abnormally calm demeanor that triggered the professional instincts of investigators. While many relatives and friends were still in shock, Duong was too calm, too in control of his emotions. Right at the funeral, police quietly approached. After some skillful conversation, they invited Nguyen Hai Duong to the station for questioning. The first time being summoned by investigators, Nguyen Hai Duong appeared very calm and stubborn. With a stone-cold face and decisive voice, Duong firmly denied any involvement in the massacre. Throughout the session, he continuously questioned the investigators back, deliberately probing weaknesses in their reasoning and repeatedly mentioning the alibi he had meticulously prepared. Duong was so confident he almost challenged the investigation force. He said there could be no evidence to convict him because on the night of the murders, the night of July 6th, he had invited friends to gather in Hoc Mon until late, with many witnesses. After that, Duong returned to the wood factory dormitory where he stayed, brushed his teeth, washed his face, did all his daily activities in front of the security camera, then went to sleep. All those images were clearly recorded, along with matching testimony from his drinking buddies, creating a perfect alibi. With such calmness and confidence, Duong seemed to believe he had created perfect smokescreen, enough to deceive even the most experienced investigators. However, in a very brief moment, Duong revealed his first slip. When an investigator suddenly said, "Looking so gentle, how dare you murder 6 people from the same family?" Duong immediately laughed, answering quickly as if prepared. "Sir, you're joking. I don't even dare kill a chicken. How would I dare kill people?" The answer seemed lighthearted, but Duong's eyes flickered slightly. Just that 1 second of panic, enough for the experienced investigator to notice something was wrong. Those who had worked in criminal investigation for many years all knew that perpetrators could hide their words but couldn't hide their eyes. And it was that fleeting tremor in Duong's eyes that made investigators certain they were on the right track. Due to insufficient evidence, investigators had to temporarily release Nguyen Hai Duong, but detectives still secretly monitored his every move closely. On July 9th, the first investigative breakthrough appeared. When checking call logs in the phones of 3 victims, Lin, Nu, and Vi, police discovered a series of unusual calls. All originated from a strange phone number, registered with an untraceable SIM card with no identity. What particularly caught investigators' attention was that on the afternoon before the murders, this phone number contacted Lin twice, including one quite long call, showing a close relationship between them. Not only that, on the same evening, that phone number continued calling Nu and Vi, the remaining victims. Most notably was the last text message sent to Vi, recorded just a few dozen minutes before the massacre occurred. This made the biggest question in the case increasingly clear. Who could contact Lin, Nu, and Vi all at once, right before the tragedy occurred? The answer seemed to have only one possibility: Nguyen Hai Duong. Someone who had been close to Lin, had lived in the same house, and knew the entire family's habits too well. Immediately, Duong was summoned for the second time. But like before, he maintained a cold, stubborn attitude, continued denying all involvement, and relied on his prepared alibi to counter police. And once again, Nguyen Hai Duong was still not arrested. However, with all efforts and sophisticated investigative techniques, investigators finally discovered the truth. Duong was the owner of the mysterious burner SIM, and he had been at the crime scene at the exact time the massacre occurred. Immediately, an emergency meeting was convened at 1 p.m. on July 10th. In the investigation team's meeting room, the atmosphere was tense. On the table were numerous diagrams, crime scene maps, location data, and forensic evidence just returned. When the lead investigator presented the entire sequence of events, all the final pieces fit together perfectly. The conclusion was reached. Nguyen Hai Duong is one of the perpetrators of this massacre. Without wasting time, Duong was summoned for the 3rd time. Unlike the previous 2 times, this time he appeared wary and deliberately difficult. As soon as he entered the interrogation room, Duong leaned back in his chair, crossed his arms, then calmly said, "If there's no lawyer, I won't answer anything." His cold, defiant attitude made the atmosphere in the room thick. But for experienced investigators, this was just a stalling tactic from someone who was afraid. Evidence was presented one by one before Duong. Duong's eyes began to waver. He tried to laugh it off, said a few evasive things, but his voice grew quieter. Investigators continued their persuasion. His face grew pale, lips trembling, sweat pouring out. Just a few minutes later, Duong buried his face in the table. His whole body slumped. When asked about the motive, Duong said he had been nurturing revenge for over 6 months. During the preparation time, he had watched many American detective films, learning how to erase traces, hide movements, and create alibis. This made him overconfident, thinking he could be so perfect that no one could trace him. Before acting, Duong had called Lin many times, both to probe and to vent his resentment. In one final call, he told Lin that, "Your family made me hate love and hate this whole life," a warning of the tragedy to come. As soon as Duong's confession matched all evidence and testimony, an arrest warrant was issued. Detectives immediately headed to Vu Van Tien's family boarding house. The winding alley full of mud after the afternoon rain couldn't stop the steps of justice. At 5 p.m. on July 10th, the investigation team raided the boarding house and arrested suspect Vu Van Teen as he was preparing to flee. The search seized almost all the murder weapons and stolen property that the suspects hadn't yet disposed of or hidden. After being arrested, Tien realized he couldn't deny it and immediately confessed on the spot about the entire process of planning and executing the massacre of Mr. Mai's family. At 10 a.m. on July 11th, Binh Phuoc provincial police officers escorted suspect Vu Van Teen to headquarters for investigation. After graduating from 12th grade, Nguyen Hai Duong was taken by his father to Saigon to learn a trade but dropped out, claiming it had no future. Sometime later, Duong returned to work as a laborer at his uncle's wood factory and stayed in the security room with his father. During his time working there in 2013, Nguyen Hai Duong met Latian Lin at a birthday party. Despite knowing Duong's poor circumstances, the daughter of the wealthy timber family in Chon Than district, Binh Phuoc still devoted her love to him. During their time together, Duong brought Lin home to meet his family several times, and both thought about marriage. However, their relationship frequently had conflicts and arguments. To help her future husband build a career, Lin lent Duong nearly $21,000 to buy rubber plantation land in Binh Phuoc. By February 2015, while Lin's mother was demanding her daughter end the relationship with Duong, he discovered Lin had a new boyfriend. 4 months before the murders was when Duong was decisively rejected by Lin. Duong said he loved Lin passionately. After breaking up, even though he had met and loved someone else, Duong still felt he couldn't live without Lin and repeatedly tried to reconcile. When firmly rejected by Lin, Duong became hateful. He especially directed that hatred toward Mrs. Na because Duong knew Mrs. Na was the one who blocked his love with Lin, looking down on Duong's poverty and wanting to marry Lin to the son of another wealthy family. Meanwhile, Lin obeyed her mother and broke up with Duong. He conceived the idea to murder Lin's entire family for revenge and to rob their property. To prepare for the crime, Nguyen Hai Duong meticulously planned buying a BB gun worth $250, an electric stun gun worth $85, a 12-inch tie knife, a 3-inch folding knife, burner SIM cards for communication, gloves and masks to cover his face, borrowing a motorcycle from his aunt Tran Thi Trin, along with plastic zip ties and duct tape as murder tools. At noon on July 6th, Duong met Tien at a cafe and invited him to participate in robbing property from a well-off family in Chon Than district, Binh Phuoc. Duong fabricated a story. "Help me with this. I invested about $33,500 in rubber wood with that guy, but he sold the wood and kept the money without paying back. Now we have to rob it back." Tien advised his friend to report to police, but Duong lied that investing without paperwork meant police couldn't intervene. Being financially desperate, Tien agreed to participate. Having lived at Lin's house, Nguyen Hai Duong was quite close to the siblings Nu and Vi. Nu often helped with household chores, while Vi was particularly fond of gaming. Knowing both siblings needed spending money, Duong contacted them to plan stealing money from Mrs. Nga to split among them. According to the plan, Nu would notify when Mr. Mai's house had money, when security cameras stopped working, and the time the driver usually came to transport wood around 3 to 4 a.m. Vi would be responsible for opening the gate for Duong to come in and take the property. On the evening of July 6th, Duong repeatedly called Vi to discuss the plan, but the boy didn't answer. Calling Nu to check the situation, she also didn't respond. At this point, Nguyen Hai Duong had to change his plan to cooperate with the two siblings as initially intended. According to the pre-planned schedule, after 11 p.m. on July 6th, Nguyen Hai Duong returned home after drinking in Hoc Mon and deliberately walked in front of the wood factory camera. When getting into bed, Duong lay on the upper bunk while his father slept below. Duong then poked a hole through the roof and climbed out. He didn't use his own vehicle, but went to an acquaintance's room to borrow a motorcycle, then took Vu Van Teen to Mr. Mai's villa. Duong had also borrowed a phone from a friend earlier, inserted a burner SIM to contact Vi when arriving. When both rode from Saigon to Binh Phuoc, Tien was only then told Duong's plan. "Later when we get there, I'll call the boy to open the gate." If I do something to the kid and he screams, you cover his mouth. I'll go inside to get money, then come out. Around 1 a.m. on July 7th, 2015, Duong and Tien wore gloves, helmets, and face masks, riding the motorcycle to Mr. Mai's gate, then texted to lure Vi to open the gate with a promise of $85. When Vi opened the door, Duong immediately tied the boy's hands. Vi had just managed to cry, "Dad!" when Tien covered his mouth while Duong strangled his neck. About 2 minutes later, the boy lost consciousness. At this point, Tien panicked, saying, "Let's go back, the boy is still alive, we can still save him." Duong reassured him, "I already discussed with you. How can we go back now?" "Going back ruins my whole plan." Saying this, Duong pulled out a knife and stabbed repeatedly, killing Vi. Witnessing his friend use a knife to kill the boy, Tien again urged, "Let's just go, the boy is dead, nobody knows." Duong pressured his accomplice, "We're in too deep, let's go in the house to get money then leave. If we go back now, we can never do this again." Duong went ahead toward the side of the villa, but seeing Tien still standing frozen where Vi was killed, waved his hand signaling to follow. Reaching the second floor, Duong continued instructing the plan. In the room are two women, one lying on the bed, one on the floor. You go in and restrain the one on the floor while I restrain the one on the bed. Hearing Tien say he couldn't do it and wanted to leave, Duong coaxed, "We're in too deep now, just restrain them. Get the money and leave." The two are very gentle. Duong would restrain Lin while Tien would do the same with Nu. When entering the room, Tien shook Nu, but the girl remained deep in sleep, so he couldn't restrain her according to plan. He quickly signaled to Duong, then grabbed his backpack to the balcony, intending to leave. Duong chased after, pleading, and Tien said fearfully, "I can't do it, I still have my parents." Duong replied, "I also have parents. We're in too deep. Let's go in and do it. Go downstairs to get money, then leave." Both used guns to threaten, then tied Lin and Nu, used duct tape to cover their mouths, then tied them to windows in separate rooms. Although tightly bound, the victims still tried to use their feet to get their phones and call Mr. Hung. Discovering the situation, Mr. Hung called back. Duong forced Nu to answer in a normal voice, then quickly hung up. Next, Duong and Tien brought weapons downstairs, going straight to the bedroom of Mr. and Mrs. Mai, along with their two young children, Kwok An and baby Na. Duong shouted, "This is a robbery. Give us money or I'll shoot you dead." Seeing Duong holding a gun, Mr. Mai begged, "Take whatever you want." Tien tied Mr. Mai and Mrs. Nga, separated Kwok An to the next room to interrogate about where money was hidden, while Duong covered Kwok An's face, then cruelly murdered the boy. Unable to extract information about where money was hidden, at this point Mr. Hung called Mrs. Nga's number asking why niece Nu called. Duong quickly forced Mrs. Nga to answer according to his instructions. At this point, Mrs. Nga and Mr. Mai had recognized Duong, pleading, "Duong, take whatever you want and leave. The delivery driver will arrive soon." They forced Mrs. Nga to call the driver to cancel the trip. Next, Tien and Duong forced Mrs. Nga to open the safe looking for money, but it was empty. They dragged Mrs. Nga to the next room to continue interrogating. Getting no answer, they used the Thai knife to stab Mrs. Na to death with multiple wounds. Right then, hearing noise at the door, Duong rushed out and discovered Mr. Mai had freed himself from his bonds, about to open the door to escape. Duong lunged forward, pressing the knife to his face, shouting, "Running? Get back in here." Mr. Mai trembled, "I wasn't running, I thought you guys left so I came out." Not long after, Mr. Mai was also killed for refusing to reveal where money was hidden. At this point, Tien told Duong, "Let's leave, it's getting light, people will come." Duong replied, "Those two know my face, let's go up and finish them, then leave." "We're in too deep, let's see it through." Tien said, "It's morning, we don't have time." Duong again pleaded, "We have time, let's finish up then leave." After killing 3 people on the first floor, they returned to the second floor to interrogate Nu about where money was hidden. Getting no answer, Duong killed Nu first, then moved to Lin's room. Lin was the final victim. Before killing her, he said, I have to do this because I was treated so badly. Perhaps at this moment, Lin realized it was Nguyen Hai Duong, but immediately after, she was coldly finished off by her ex-lover. Throughout the crime, although Tien tried to stop him multiple times, each time Duong said, "We're in too deep," he continued following instructions, tying and strangling each victim. Duong used the folding knife and tie knife to stab straight into victims' hearts, then continued stabbing necks and slashing across brutally. Not stopping there, they also used blindfolds and stun guns to torture victims before killing them. After committing the murders, both ransacked for property. When returning to Mr. Mai's room to take items, change blood-stained clothes, and turn on lights, Duong discovered 18-month-old baby Na, Mr. Mai's youngest child, crying. He picked up the little girl to rock her to sleep, then searched the closet for clothes before fleeing. When returning to Tien's boarding house around 6:30 a.m. on July 7th, the two checked the stolen property: an iPad, laptop, 5 phones, and about $170 in cash. Along with clothes and murder weapons like knives, guns, and shoes, everything was put in a backpack and given to Tien to keep. After 7 a.m. on July 7th, Duong opened Facebook and learned that the housekeeper had discovered Mr. Mai's entire family murdered. He immediately took a motorcycle to the crime scene around 11:30 a.m. Meanwhile, Tien took the backpack containing evidence to the Saigon River bank to hide. In the following days, Duong continuously returned to the crime scene, appearing grief-stricken, crying in front of the victims' relatives so no one suspected him. After a month of persistent investigation, on August 10th, authorities arrested the third suspect in the case. Tran Dinh Thoai, born May 23, 1988, living in Ho Chi Minh City, occupation, cook. Thoai finished 9th grade, then went to Ho Chi Minh City to study refrigeration, but after graduating didn't work in that field, instead helping cook at a relative's restaurant in Saigon. 3 months earlier, while going for coffee with a younger sibling, Thoai happened to meet Nguyen Hai Duong and gradually became close friends. Hearing Duong say he was pooling capital with relatives to buy liquidated rubber to sell for profit, and because the border area had many robbers, needed to buy a stun gun for self-defense, Thoai enthusiastically showed his friend how to buy online. When Duong bought weapons, he also showed them off to Thoai. A week before the incident, Duong confided to Thoai that he had been cheated out of over $12,500 by his girlfriend's family in Bin Phuoc in a business investment, inviting Thoai to rob it back. He promised to only take back his capital, giving all excess to Thoai. To increase credibility, Duong affirmed the plan was thoroughly prepared. Initially, Thoai hesitated, advising his friend to openly demand the money or ask police to intervene. However, Duong continuously persuaded that the plan was ready, no one would discover it, plus that family was very wealthy, so Thoai finally agreed. At 11:30 p.m. on July 3rd, Duong took Thoai by motorcycle from Hoc Mon District, Ho Chi Minh City, straight to Mr. Mai's house. On the way, Duong explained the plan. There are 7 people in the house. When someone comes to the gate, restrain them, then go upstairs to tie up 2 girls, then go downstairs to restrain the homeowners, open the safe to get money. While discussing, Duong suddenly revealed he hated the homeowners so would kill them. Thoai was horrified, saying, "Just rob, don't kill people." Seeing his friend worried, Duong quickly reassured, "After getting money, you go out first, let me handle it." Only now did Thoai truly realize this was Nguyen Hai Duong's plan to rob and murder, but having already gotten on the motorcycle, could only stay silent. After over 2 hours, both arrived in front of Mr. Mai's villa gate. Seeing no one come to open the door, Thoai urged Duong, but Duong disagreed. After over an hour waiting with no results, Nguyen Hai Duong finally agreed to get on the motorcycle back to Ho Chi Minh City. Both agreed to return to Mr. Mai's house the next day to commit the crime. On the way back, Thoai discussed with Duong that Thoai would buy an additional Thai knife, so tomorrow when they go, Duong agreed. By the evening of July 5th, 2015, Thoai had bought a Thai knife to give Duong along with a backpack, but then said his grandmother was sick, so wouldn't go with Duong anymore. At this point, Duong took Thoai's phone to text Vi, asking the boy to come down and open the villa gate. This was also the key point to arrest Thoai. Unable to persuade Thoai, Duong turned to invite Tien to carry out the plot with him. Additionally, before executing the massacre, Duong invited his aunt Tran Thi Trin, 31 years old, to go to Mr. Mai's house to test whether anyone would notice if Vi went outside. Duong told his aunt he was going to a friend's house to get items, coinciding with the time he would go with Thoai and Tien. Both times going with accomplices to Mr. Mai's villa, Duong borrowed his aunt's motorcycle. However, through investigation, police determined that Duong's aunt and the friend whose phone Duong borrowed didn't know about the plan and the murders, so didn't consider criminal liability. On the morning of December 17, 2015, Binh Phuoc Provincial People's Court held a mobile trial of Nguyen Hai Duong, Vu Van Tien, and Tran Dinh Thoai on a 10-acre vacant lot in Chon Than District Administrative Center. The three defendants were prosecuted for murder and robbery after killing 6 people in Mr. Levan Mai's family the previous July. Over 300 police were mobilized to ensure trial security. At the first instance trial, the court sentenced Nguyen Hai Duong to death for murder and 8 years imprisonment for robbery. Total sentence, death. Vu Van Tien to death for murder and 7 years imprisonment for robbery. Total sentence, death. Tran Dinh Thoai to 13 years imprisonment for murder and 3 years imprisonment for robbery. Total sentence, 16 years imprisonment. Afterward, the accomplices and victims' families continuously filed appeals. After multiple postponements, the high-level People's Court in Ho Chi Minh City decided to hold an appellate trial on July 18th and 19th, 2016. The trial panel would review petitions to reduce Vu Van Tien's death sentence and Tran Dinh Thoai's 16-year sentence, both accomplices of mastermind Nguyen Hai Duong. However, on the afternoon of July 18th, after one day of trial, the high-level People's Court in Ho Chi Minh City rejected all appeals, upholding the death sentence for Vu Van Tien and 16 years imprisonment for Thoai for murder and robbery charges. Subsequently, Nguyen Hai Duong and Vu Van Tien were executed by lethal injection in Binh Duong Province. The case left inconsolable grief for surviving relatives, especially baby Na, the child who was lucky to escape death but had to grow up orphaned without both father and mother. 6 innocent lives were taken simply because of the blind hatred of a man who couldn't accept heartbreak, turning a broken romance into motivation for savage crime, and that is today's case. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next videos.